feel like every time there's an argument between us, you guys love to throw out, I thought we were friends. Not our place to say. I had to pick someone, guys.
There's a lot of things you weren't honest about, though. Like, there were comments to Andrada that you didn't mention to Meg. There was comments to Bidikis that, again, like...
There's nothing I love more than a game that doesn't involve the islanders swapping saliva. Anything else, if they're messy through their words or their actions, I don't mind. And I particularly love this game. Sadly, I feel like Shakira and Harry were trying to spare people's feelings, whereas Tony and Yasmin were not afraid to go straight for the jugular. And I'm here for that. I'm here for that. And I love that they were not backing down when Dijon tried to corner them. I'm happy that they were able to stand their ground and sort of speak up and not let him intimidate them. And then blue, jealousy looks really bad on him, just like the color blue. Because at the end of the day, I feel like he's still aggrieved that Tony wouldn't back his plan when he wanted her to back him, when he said he wanted to explore something with her. And then with Harry, I don't think he's doing it because he really loves Helena. I think he's just doing it for the attention and for the jealousy, because he can't understand why Harry gets away with a lot. And I'm here for Helena's family not having smoke for Harry, because she brought it on herself. It would have been embarrassing for them to come and hold his feet to the fire, knowing how their daughter has behaved and knowing how their daughter came to be in a couple with Harry. So I'm happy that they were just able to sort of let it go and just let it be what it is. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 6,000. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this video, I'll be reviewing Love Island UK season 12, episode 51. I nearly lost it there. Am I the only one who's side-eyeing production? Because personally, Angel, Blue and Meg did not need Meet the Parents. They didn't need their parents to come up because they've just barely left home. Unless you're telling me they're in quarantine for 2 weeks, they've barely left home. Even Ian said they haven't seen their child for 3 days. So why are we coming and pretending like, you know, this is the first time seeing them in a long time? Anyway, I digress. So you have Ty and Angel's parents come up. Well, Ty, it's his mom and his sister. For Angel, it's her mom and sister as well. Apparently, Angel's dad loves Ty. She thinks Ty is the best thing since sliced bread. You know, they're glad she survived Harry. And it's like, Harry was just humoring her. Harry will flirt to the plant. So the audacity to make it seem like she rejected him when he called it off, I do not get it. She went after Harry because she wanted a storyline. And she knew that the only way she could get a storyline and airtime would be if Harry was involved. So the audacity to try and make it seem like Harry was really that keen on her, I am not buying it, and I don't get it, and I don't understand it. You know, they said they love Ty because he has good morals, and they questioned whether they were exclusive. And it's like, it's barely been a week. How can they be exclusive? Even Dijon doesn't move at the speed of lightning. Ty, on his part, was telling his mom and his sister that, you know, they have an accent barrier. Even though she's his type, I think his accent is a bit stronger. And obviously, north of the UK, their accents are very strong. The UK in general, accents are totally different wherever you are, wherever you go. So I understand him saying there's accent barriers. And so they then met up, and the mum sort of mocked the word lovely, the way it's said up north. And so it was nice to see, but there was nothing stand out about it. And I think production really struggled to find the bits that they put in order to make it make sense. Next up, we had Connor and Megan. Megan, I don't understand why her family is there. And I don't understand why her mom and sister are pretending as though they haven't seen her in a long time. Even Ian Sterling said it's only been 3.5 days, so I don't get it. So they were excited to see her. You know, they said, you know, he and Shakira was giving friendship vibes. I do not buy that. I truly believe that Connor has romantic interest in Shakira, but sadly Shakira is not returning the favor. And if Shakira had been serious about Connor, it would have been a struggle for Megan to come and steal him back, unless Connor knew that that would give him better chances of winning. But I think if Shakira had reciprocated the love connection, he wouldn't have gone back to Megan. So for them to say it's friendship vibes, okay. The mom was very keen on Harry. She said, you know, Harry the dog, sort of mocking him. And then you had Connor. Connor, his friends were saying, she's respectful. They didn't expect him to find an Irish girl. And it's like, respectful to who? To who? It took her being dumped to come back and be respectful or try to be respectful. But still, the mask is slipping. And we've seen it slip several times. And she's had to sort of pull herself back because she knows the backlash this time might actually be worse than the first time. So the audacity. They then sat down together. And then they were sort of saying, well, you had Megan's mom sort of mocking Connor and saying you've been very busy, and he said, well, every girl he's tried to be with, he was comparing them to Megan. Connor is good with words. I'm going to give him that, in the sense that he puts on his smile, he puts on his charm, and people are smitten. And so people never get to see the fact that he's been through more girls than anyone else in the villa. As I said yesterday, Connor's been a resident in the hideaway more often than anybody else. So the audacity to think that that's the best for your child, and for you to listen to him saying that he was going through all those girls just because he was trying to see if he could get anything better. Okay, if you all want to turn a blind eye, it is what it is. I'm not going to buy it. They didn't say their goodbyes. That was a very short meetup anyway. And so when they're saying their goodbyes, you have, Megan's mom have a conversation with Harry. Harry was happy to see them. Harry is a very sociable person. I personally found it strange that Connor had his cousins come out and his mom didn't come out. I have a feeling the mom feels some type of way about Megan, and you can see it even with Cash. His mom must have felt some type of way about Tony, as much as we love her, and I think this is why she didn't come. And because at times mothers struggle to hide their feelings about what's happening to their child. And so having seen Megan the first time round and then this time round, I don't think his mom wanted to come and pretend to like her on TV, and so maybe that's why she didn't come. You then have the boys, all of them go to the day beds, and they're just having a conversation. So Dijon is asked, how was your chat with your mom? And they said, they all said they don't see us happy, they don't see us joking, but you've all seen us joking. And the boys, the responses were very muffled, and it's like they can all tell that he's lying. They don't joke as much as he's making out. He said, my mom struggled because she sees some some conversations or things being said about me that she doesn't like. This is why she was saying it was very hard to watch. And so she was saying, that's why she stood up and told everyone that we need to be mindful of the things that we're saying. And I will repeat, his mom needs to be to tell his son to be mindful of the things that he says and the things that he does to trigger others to say whatever they say back to him. Last but not least was Blue and Helena's family. Personally, I don't understand why Blue's family is there. He's barely been in the villa for 4 days. So why are we coming and pretending like, we've missed him? He's been home for at least 2-3 weeks. So what's the big deal? You had Helena, her mom and dad, and Blue's mom and dad also came. And personally, what do I think? I'm a bit skeptical of Helena's family, because when they saw Harry, they said, oh, there's Mr. Villain, and they sort of hugged him, and then they went to the day beds. The mum is telling her, you've been very good. She asks, how did you feel about the recoupling? I've been genuine, I've been real. He's not the prize I am. And it's sort of like these people are being delulu, or they're choosing to be delulu on purpose, because at the end of the day, they should have told their daughter the truth. You do not chase a man. You do not force a man to like you. If he doesn't like you, no matter what you do, he's never going to like you. So the idea that they were trying to hype her up, I understand hyping her up because she's upset, because she has lost the relationship that she thought she had. But at least be realistic with your daughter, because otherwise she's going to repeat the same habits. And it seems for the past 29 years, she's been doing exactly the same thing, and I don't get why. She says, this is the first time she's learned to speak up for herself. And I didn't get it. I really didn't understand it. For Blue, he was with his mom and dad. For him to say, how did you feel about my recoupling speech? And it's like, it's not a romantic connection. You are very petty and very jealous, as far as I'm concerned. And you try and take opportunity to sort of utilize somebody else's weakness against them. Because he said, oh, Harry will find a way to get himself out of it. He always gets his way out of it. And it's like, it's none of your business how he does it. he has the charisma that you don't have, and so you need to work on yourself. So I don't get it. Harry had a conversation with Dijon. He was asking him, do I need to apologize? I think I need to apologize, but I don't know what to say. He then went, and surprisingly, he's been in a couple with Helena for almost 5-6 weeks, and he doesn't know her mom and dad's names. And it's like, so what have we been discussing outside of flirting and telling each other what we want to do in bed? He apologized to the mom and dad. All he said was, I'm sorry, and they were happy to take it on board. But they joked with him, and it's like, I really don't get it. I think they know that their daughter ain't crap. So this is why they were so quick to sort of get over it. Because I think had it been totally different, had it been the Shakira situation, they would have had more vim and they would have been justified. But Helena brought this on herself. She pushed this man to couple up with her, and eventually he gave in and he coupled up with her. So I think part of them knows that as much as he is responsible for his actions, she's also responsible for her actions, but they're not going to call her out on TV. You then had Blue sort of, sit down with Helena's family. Well, they went to where his family was, and the audacity of this man to ask, so what do you have any advice for us? What advice do you want? Helena's just told your family that she asked for you to be friends. She hasn't shut things down completely, but she asked for you to be her friend at the moment. So what advice do you want them to give you? So the islanders go to get ready for the night, and you have Shakira having a conversation with Tony. Tony is distraught because obviously she knows that Cash's siblings don't like her because they really weren't that forthcoming when she was having conversations with them. So she knows they don't like her. Shakira is saying her mom can't stand Harry and she doesn't understand the allure why Shakira really likes this man. Harry is in the bedroom telling the guys that it was a bit orcs he's meeting with Shakira's mum, but he understands. He understands what he's done, and he understands why they would feel that way. You then have Harry and Connor meet up in the bathroom, and Connor saying, I'm happy for you. And it's like, are you really happy for him, or are you just saying it because you know that that's what he wants to hear? I don't know. I really don't get it. And so we'll wait and see when it comes to Connor. I know I'm very skeptical when it comes to Connor. Helena is busy telling the girls that, she thought she was going to be very upset seeing Harry's family with Shakira's family, but she wasn't upset about it. And personally, I feel like Helena is milking the situation. She really is. Because she's not a victim in this square or triangle or whatever you want to call it. She brought it on herself by having people like Dijon sort of fight her battle for her and make sure that she ended up with the guy that she wanted. After the islanders pick up their drinks, you have Helena go for another chat with Harry, and it's like, I thought you said you didn't want to speak to him. I thought you were no longer friends with him, so why do you need to speak to him? For her to sit him down and say, I was going through a lot and now I feel I'm in a better headspace. So I just want you to know that we can be friends. And it's like, you can be friends with who? He's got a girl that he's seeing. It's up to the girl whether she's happy for him to sort of associate with you. You might want to be friends with him, but he has to consider Shakira's feelings because he's already been told by several parents that he needs to consider everyone else's feelings before he makes a decision. I'm happy that he was very sort of not standoffish, but sort of hands-offish. I don't know what word to use, in the sense that he didn't try and engage and he didn't try and flirt, and that the subject was very superficial. So hopefully they can both move on and do their thing. Shakira was just sitting there because she knows at the end of the day Harry's going to come to her, so she doesn't need to do anything. You had Tony go for a chat with Cash. Tony is distraught. Tony is upset because, she knows that his siblings feel some type of way. And Cash was trying to console her and tell her that, my siblings have seen me cry on TV. They've seen me embarrassed on TV. So they are going to feel some type of way. I would have had a problem with Cash's siblings had they come in and behaved the way Helena's mom and dad behaved. It shows that they really care about their sibling and they feel some type of way about what you did. So it's up to you to decide whether you want to change and whether you want to work on that connection and prove to them that you really like their loved one. It's not just a TV show for you. Cash on his part said, I've forgiven you, we've moved on, so don't worry about what everybody else thinks. But she's going to worry. She is going to worry. We then move on to the fire pit. You have Dijon and Meg sitting at the fire pit. Meg is sort of telling Dijon what her family was saying, that he's a manipulator, he's a gaslighter, he's very flirty. And then he says, the audacity to open his top and bottom lip and say, everything I say and do is wrong. I'll never be able to do anything right. People will always criticize me. And it's like, because you're doing a lot of things wrong, that's why people criticize you. People just don't criticize you out of the blue. People criticize you because of the things that you say and do. This is why people are hypercritical of you. If you were like Jamie, I don't think anyone would criticize you. So maybe it's a time for you to self-reflect. But no, Dijon was busy mastermind coming up with a different plan. Shakira and Harry go to the daybeds and they're just having a conversation, and Harry's sort of saying, your mom didn't like me. I tried to go in for a hug. I like that they were lighthearted about it. They weren't very critical or very upset about it, but they were lighthearted about it. And Shakira was saying, my mom can be intense. Actually, this was a good thing. She was better today. And Harry's thinking, if that was good, how is she when it's bad? And I think this is good for Harry because he needs that. He needs to know that there's someone who's not going to let him get away with murder. He needs to know that there's someone who's going to hold him to account for his actions. Anyway, at this moment, you have Dijon, after he's been told that my family were hypercritical of you, he came up with a master plan. He then decided to pull Meg to take her to the terrace. And Shakira and Harry could see them up there, and they just kept quiet and minded their own business. He takes her up there and he says, I've got this feeling in my heart. It's something I've tried to sort of hold back, but I just wanted you to know that I love you and I came in looking for love. Now I have a girlfriend and I have a lover, so I've already won. And it's like the door's open, Dijon. You can walk out any moment. He has a way of telling this woman what she wants to hear. And she'll always grin and smile and whatever and bear it just because he's told her that time I was single, I wasn't exclusive, now I'm exclusive, I've got a girlfriend, I'm in love, I'm not going to do anything. And it's like, well, that's what he's saying now. Wait until he leaves the fella. Give him a week or two and let's see if he's going to behave the same way that he's behaving now. I don't get why she continues to buy his nonsense. I really don't get it. Anyway, the islanders get ready for bed. While they're getting ready for bed, you have Cash sort of telling the guys that Tony is really upset because she's worried that my siblings don't like her. And Dijon was saying, maybe it's because she really cares about you and, it really matters what your family think. I think family is very important to Tony, and I think his family sort of being standoffish is something she didn't she expected them to be upset, but not as upset as they were. So I think this is why she's worried. Helena meets, Dijon in the bathroom, and she's happy that he's always there for her. He's very supportive and he's always got her back. Hey, it is what it is. The islanders get ready for bed. Everybody goes to bed. And as clockwork, Dijon gave Meg the D. This is why he's able to keep her, because he must be giving a very good day. And this is why she's just, whatever happens, but we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. But we're boyfriend and girlfriend now. But we're in love. So in the morning, the islanders have a debrief and they sort of, are sitting there and they're having conversations about their couples. You have Meg squared with Angel. She's fully a member of the clique, and Helena. And she's saying, I don't care about the negative comments. And it's like, you do care because it's the day after and you're still talking about the negative comments. So you do care about what your family says. For her to say, well, my family will see how he is when we leave the villa. I think first impressions matter, and it's going to be difficult for them to sort of get over that. It's not as simple and straightforward like Tony only made one mistake and look at how Cash's family is behaving, let alone Dijon has done multiple things. So I don't think your family will be able to get over it. In the den, you have Dijon sitting with Blue and Harry, and he's saying, I've always had this feeling that I love Meg, and I just kept saying to myself, why am I holding back? Why am I holding back? And the first thing that came to my mind was the sarcastic look that Tony and Yasmin gave each other with Shakira the night before when Dijon revealed that he had told Meg he loved her. Everyone else was happy, but they just looked at each other sarcastically, and they just kept quiet because they knew that whatever his family had said was still on his mind, and this is why he had come up with the I love yous. You have, Meg talking about, he loves me. He just came out with it and I was so surprised, but it's about time. And the clique is seconding that. And it's like, these girls, that's why they get along, because they support each other's crap. They don't hold each other accountable and they're not genuinely honest with one another. So, hey, if that's what they want to believe, it is what it is. You have Shakira telling Tony and Yas that, we kissed. I finally gave in and I kissed Harry and it was really good. And Harry even tells the guys that, we were just talking and then suddenly she leaned in for a kiss. So that was great for him because he's been waiting for a while. And Tony's still stuck on the Cash's family don't like me. Cash's family don't like me. Cash's family don't like me. And it's like, there's nothing you can do outside of prove yourself. When you leave the villa, have conversations with them. If it doesn't work out, amazing. And I think his siblings must feel bad watching her sort of beat herself about it. Cash on his part is saying, I really love that she's worried about what my family thinks, because it tells me that she's genuine and she really cares about me. And so I think it's a matter of them just sitting down, and with time, his family sort of catching on and realizing that, she actually does really like their brother, and it's a mistake that she made, and hopefully they can forgive her. It's not like she's done multiple things. It's the one time that she embarrassed. It's totally different to the Dijon situation. You then have Harry sitting down with Shakira, and they're sort of talking about the fact that, their meet the parents didn't go great. Yes, Harry's mom seemed like she was very supportive of her son, but at the end of the day, it didn't go as bad as they thought. Shakira reveals that her mother initially didn't want to speak to Harry, but she eventually agreed. We all know that, she didn't want to speak to him, so it is what it is. Well, Harry and Shakira are sort of having their little cutesy moment. You have Yasmin receive a message. Islanders, it's time to reveal what you really think of each other in today's challenge. Couple goals, hashtag smiling but judging, and then hashtag standing on business. And it's about to be messy, because the questions will start off sweet, and with time, it will just go downhill, and it's going to be a hot mess. Hopefully they don't dump someone as a result of this, but hey, it is what it is. So we get to hear 5 questions. And so the first question is, Dijon and Meg were the hosts. I think they already think they're going to be the winners, since Josh and Mimi hosted a similar thing last year, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't them that hosted, it was Sean and somebody else. Oh, my bad. Anyway, so the first question is, which couple is most likely to last outside the villa? And so you'd have each couple sort of write their names on the cards and then reveal the name. First up was Shakira and Harry. They wrote Connor and Meg because they're both Irish and it seems they have a lot in common. I think they just did that because Connor is Shakira's friend, so that's what they went for. Tony and Cash said Ty and Angel because they really seem to get along. I would have liked Angel if she wasn't a member of the clique, but given the things that the clique has said and the things that she said, I'm off her. Helena and Blue said Meg and Dijon. They've been together since day one. I think they just chose their friends. Yaz and Jamie said Con and Megan, since they seem to be doing very well. Con and Megan said Meg and Dijon. That's their friend, so they're going to say that. Angel and Ty said Dijon and Meg because that's their friend as well. And then Dijon and Meg said Ty and Angel. And it's just the clique is just supporting the clique. That's it. Number 2 question was, which couple would you not want to go on a city break with? Oh, mini break. Oh, God. Anyway, you had Shakira and Harry say Connor and Megan. Yeah, makes sense. Tony and Cash said Helena and Blue. Makes sense because Blue has been a jackass since he came back. He's really been looking for trouble with Tony for reasons best known to him, and I'm still questioning why. Blue said Harry and Shakira because Harry might want to wife swap, and it's like, oh my God. Can you seek attention more? Why would you want to wife swap? And I'm happy that Harry stood on business and said, no, I would never do that. I've already told you that I would never do that. And so the idea that you'd come up with that doesn't make sense to me. Neither does it make sense to us, Harry. Yasmin and Jamie said Dijon and Meg. Surprise, no. I wouldn't want to go on a break with them. They would annoy me. But he's my boyfriend. But I love him. No. Meg and Connor said Helena and Blue. Makes sense. With Angel and Ty and Dijon and Meg, they also said Helena and Blue, and it's like, wow. So your excuse is that they would get you in trouble because they're party people. No, I don't think so. I think they'll just be annoyed by Blue, but people don't want to own up that it's Blue that they don't want to hang out with. Hey. And number 3 was, which couple do you trust the most? Oh, this was interesting. I think Dijon thought Harry would put his name, but Harry and Shakira put Tony and Cash. And that's because they're just saying, Shakira is very close friends with Tony, 1, and 2, Tony, you've been there for me during the lowest times, which is the truth though. Tony was the first person to say to Harry at his lowest point when everybody else was sort of shunning him. She was the one who told him, I don't hate you. You've done a lot of bad things, but I don't hate you. And I think that sort of lifted his spirit because nobody else was talking to him and Shakira couldn't go and console him. So hearing that from Shakira's number 2 really comforted him. So it makes sense. And he said, with Cash, you've been there for me as well. So I would have to say the two of you, even though Dijon is my best friend. Next up was Tony and Cash. They said Yaz and Jamie because they're the couple that they've spoken to the most. It makes sense because, Shakira and Harry have just become a couple. Helena and Blue said Angel and Ty. Surprise, no. Yaz and Jamie said Tony and Cash. Surprise, no. Surprisingly, Megan and Connor said Yaz and Jamie. I didn't quite get that. I think they wanted anyone that wasn't a member of the clique. I think what's happening is Megan is trying to sort of appear neutral, but it's not helping because we all know that's her game plan. Angel and Ty said Meg and Dijon. Angel was sucking up to Meg and Dijon for reasons best known to her, but hey, it is what it is. With Meg and Dijon, they went for Helena and Blue, and they were saying, Meg is very close friends with Helena. They've been friends since day one. On his part, Dijon said, Helena, you're my best friend in here. And it's like, so are you saying Harry's not your best friend? You could see Harry felt some type of way about that. And it's up to Harry to read between the lines and realize that this man is not his friend. He really is not his friend, so there's no need to protect his poor, broken, fragile ego. Next up was which couple cares more about how they are perceived. This was obvious, very obvious, and I'm surprised some people tried to hide under the bus. You had Shakira and Harry say Dijon and Meg. Surprised. Well, the majority said Dijon and Megan. The only people that didn't say so was Angel and Ty because, as I said, they're sucking up to Megan, and Dijon and Meg. They couldn't name themselves, but everybody else agreed that Dijon and Meg cared more about what other people, how they were perceived, because their excuse was the fact that when their loved ones came in and told them how they felt, they cared about that. And also, I would say that ranking thing where they got to hear the viewers' opinions, they really do care about how they're perceived. Dijon, with every person, he tried to sort of confront them and intimidate them into backing down, and I'm happy that nobody backed down. With Angel and Ty, it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense because their excuse was that Tony was upset because Cash's brother and sister felt some type of way. That's the only time she's expressed concern. Dijon and Meg has been every other moment. For, Dijon and Meg to say Yaz and Jamie, they were just looking for an excuse. I think because Yaz had cornered them. And sadly, during the answer session, you had Connor and Megan change their answer. As I said, Megan is trying to appear neutral. That way she can win the viewers over. Which couple is most fake was another controversial one. Because you had Shakira and Harry say Helena and Blue. Well, they're a fake couple. Everybody else is in a romantic couple. They're a friendship couple. That makes sense. So for Blue to try and say, oh, but what do you mean it's a cop-out? It's not a cop-out. It is not a cop-out. So I don't get... Besides, he never showed interest in Helena from day one. So the audacity to say that he's interested in her now doesn't make sense, especially when he walked out of the villa, he said he wanted to explore with Tony. He never said Helena. So I don't get why he was upset. Tony and Cash, there was a back and forth, but eventually they agreed on Meg and Dijon. And Meg and Dijon felt some type of way. And Tony was able to back her comment that, every time, every move you've made has seemed strategic. And it has. It's sort of like he's got a Love Island checklist and he knows I need to go exclusive, then I need to go girlfriend, closed off, exclusive, boyfriend and girlfriend, I love you, and the next is going to propose. Anyway, next up was Blue and Helena. They wrote Tony and Cash. Blue's just trying to be a jackass. He's looking for his 5 minutes of fame. He's looking to leave the villa and carries Tony as a villain in his storyline. That way he can get more airtime once he leaves the villa because he knows he is leaving anytime soon. Tony, I love that they sort of asked him why us, and then, oh, well, you really didn't like Cash, you only liked him because Harrison left. How do you know that? You were not there. You're only basing on what you saw. And for Helena to second that just shows she's an idiot. They're both upset that they couldn't find a romantic connection and others could. That's my opinion on that, and I'm sticking to it. Yasmin and Jamie. I love that Yaz had the checklist. She told them, you've said this to Andrade, you've said this to Billikis, and you've never revealed it to Megan. Why didn't you do so? Well, I didn't say every single thing because it was upsetting her. No, you didn't say every single thing because you were afraid she'll break up with you. So I'm not surprised with that. Megan and Connor wrote Helena and Blue. As I said, they're trying to play neutral party. That's my opinion and I'm sticking to it. you had also Angel and Ty stick to Blue and Helena. It makes sense. He never showed any interest in Helena up until Helena was single, or up until he had no other option. If he had any other option to explore, he would have explored every single person in the villa and ended up at Helena if he couldn't find anyone else. So the audacity to think that doesn't make sense. And then you had Megan and Dijon, right, Shakira and Harry. Their excuse didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. The audacity... Because they've already been called out and said, one of the girls, I remember Tony or Yasmin said that, with Megan, every time something goes wrong, you say, but we're friends. No, if you're friends, you don't treat someone the way you've treated them. So for their excuse to be that Shakira was saying that, Dijon wanted Helena and Meg to be together. That's the truth, though. Movie night didn't show it, but that's the truth. He was championing for Harry to couple up with Helena. There's no two ways about it. When you go home and you leave the villa and you watch it, you will see it. Don't worry, there's no more after sun, I think, but you will see it. Countless times we heard Dijon tell Harry that, Helena is better for you, you're happier, you're lively, whereas with Shakira, you're too serious, you're always sad, you're always miserable. So the audacity to do that. And then for this woman to open her top and bottom lip and lie and say, Shakira, I have considered you a friend. When did you consider her a friend? The moment you walked in with her. And then once you realized that the guys were interested in her, you went off her. Please take several seats. And I'm happy that Shakira said the gloves are off. And I hope from now, with the next couple of questions that are coming up, they're going to be brutally honest, because they can see for a fact that Dijon and Meg are not their friends. They are not Shakira's friends, definitely. And now they're showing that they're not Harry's friends. And I hope Harry takes that on board and sticks with it and understands that you don't have to please every single person. If somebody doesn't like you, accept them for what they are and for who they're presenting themselves to be, and keep it stepping. There's no need to be very nice to every single person. Anyway, I digress. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 50. Bye everyone. See you in the next one.